Today, my friends, we're going to be going over miners again, and we're going to be breaking them down by just using the Seige Barrack. So this video is going to mainly be going over the Seige Barrack and the miners and how you guys can use them both here at Town Hall 11. So, miners at Town Hall 11. Of course, I've done a plethora of different videos on them, but they are just so good and so meta right now at Town Hall 11. But this is where I want to just primarily talk about two different things. Well, of course, miners, of course, and the Seige Barrack. The Seige Barrack is such a great unit in order to use in terms of, creating a funnel and also spawning in those hogs from the clan castle once it is finished off, deploying all the wizards and also the Mecha, of course. But the Seige Barrack has just that really useful feature, and if you don't have access to the Seige Barrack, if you don't have a Town Hall 13 that has it, then you may want to try and get one. This is definitely where this video is going to be primarily covering just the Seige Barracks, as it's one of the best siege machines with miners. So if you don't have a Stone Slammer, if you don't have a Seige Barrack, then I would say, then use your king, because you just got to make sure that you are still being able to get value in terms of the funnel. So when you're using miners here at Town Hall 11, there are a couple things that you need to consider. For one, where's your entry point going to be? By taking a look at this base design, and I kind of just want to run through this, what makes a base weak to miners and what doesn't? Well, of course, with anything, if there are a lot of spring traps like in your area, if your clanmate decided to already use hogs, then that might not be a good base design to hit with miners, as it's going to be probably the same thing, maybe even worse. So you got to also keep that in mind. But another thing is going to actually be how the base is designed, meaning that you want to see, can I create a funnel right here, or can I create a funnel right here, and can I also pick off these structures here, use a Seige Barrack over here, and actually create the funnel, and then create easy pathing going in like this? Can I do that? Yeah, so that's definitely that you've got to look for. You've got to look at that. Another thing is the CC a damage CC, or is it a CC where I don't have to deal with it, like a Lava Hound CC? Golem CCs are a little bit different, but Lava Hound, those are still going to be pretty good. Of course, Lava Hound, you only have to take care of the loon, and that's about it. Because the lava pup, well, if the lava pups pop, then of course you're going to have to deal with it. But Lava Hounds themselves aren't going to be too big of a threat. But with that being said, that's going to give you guys a few solid points to really the main reason to should you actually hit that base. In terms of scouting, that's what you're looking for. So if I'm looking at this base design for miners, then I think what I would see is we don't have to use a queen charge, we don't have to use a queen walk, and we don't even have to use hybrid. Because as long as we are picking off this value here with the Sui hero, and then maybe picking off this area over here with a Seige Barrack, it gives us value because it creates that funnel into the base, and that offers us some really good and nice value for our miners. I don't want to say value all too much because I had someone say that in the comments of a previous video, but hopefully that sort of gets you guys into the understanding of miners here at Town Hall 11. Someone did ask me about the sort of scouting, so I kind of want to help you guys with that as well. So by taking a look at this base design right here, notice that what we're doing is we are starting off with our Sui hero that's going down this way. We should have the queen wrapping her way back around to help with the king as well. You'll also notice that we do have the Seige Barrack and also the baby dragon going in on this top side here. What this allows us to do is going to be to create the funnel here. Now you may notice that we aren't, picking off these structures here. However, wizards over here will start going out onto those sides. They may not be successful, but what we are doing right now is we are carving out that funnel so that then we can send our miners into the base. That's going to be what you're trying to look for when you're using miners. The Seige Barrack's job here is to help with funneling. That way you can send in your hogs, especially if they go straight over to a defense, such as the eagle. But here, since there was a wizard tower there, they're going to move this way. The heal spells should be used primarily over those miners and or the hogs if you choose to use them or use it on them. Of course, the rage spell is also going to be really useful in this case. The rage can actually help boost the miners through the base. So what you want to make sure that you're doing with the miners is, if you're planning on using a rage, make sure with that rage spell you want to get a lot of really good value for your miners. That way they're able to like hit those buildings really hard and really quickly, so that then they can go from building to building to building. That's really what you want to try and do. You can see dealing with the enemy CC is really not too difficult. It's just a lava hound and a balloon. The balloon was taken out by a poison, and that's all that you really need to do to deal with that. But this was a pure mass miner, not using a queen charge, not using a queen walk. Very, very simple. You can use this for farming. It's a very, very easy and successful method here in the current meta. But with the Seige Barracks, it's really easy to use miners right now. So let's move on to a couple more examples with miners and Seige Barracks. So we've got this next example, and the biggest thing that we want to kind of take a look at is, for one, of course, we are using a queen charge. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off with a semi-Sui hero. So what we're doing is we are sending the king and the queen. King's going to tank for the enemy queen, or for the queen, and that way he can still create some sort of funneling and still get value from the outside of the base. What you're going to be doing with your queen charge is you want her to go in the direction that you want her to go, meaning that you want to be very patient on when to drop your healers. Once the king moves here, drop in your healers towards that queen area. This way, what this allows you now to do, you just want to be very patient. That's really what you want to do. So see how they're not moving towards the king and they're moving towards the queen? That's what you want to try and do with this. So make sure that that is something that you are keeping in mind. Now, as you're driving into the base, you're dealing with the enemy CC and the enemy queen. So and the eagle. So that's really what you're trying to do with the queen charge into mass miner. Now, you may also notice the Seige Barrack. It is actually only level 3. This siege is level independent, meaning that this is the siege that you probably will use most of the time with your miners. What you'll notice here for a second is that you're going to see that they are creating the funnel down here, and the queen is already creating the funnel here, meaning that what's going to happen is the miners will now have easy pathing to go along like this. So you'll notice that we also have the heal spell as well. This heal spell can be used in order for the hogs there from the Seige Barracks, in order for them to get healed up. They can get a lot of good value under a heal, especially since they are going to be max level under a max heal. So it's going to really help them a lot. So just remember though that the placement of the Seige Barracks is going to be determined on where their pathing is going to go. So that's really where you want to make sure that you're placing their heal spell correctly. And I didn't talk about the Grand Warden's ability all too much. The Grand Warden's ability should be used maybe either early to mid in the attack. This way you're able to not use another heal and instead use your Grand Warden's ability, keep them all protected, including the Grand Warden himself, to get through the rest of the base just fine. If you can get anything like the hogs and the miners, then that is going to help you a lot. If you get the queen, then that's even better, because now the queen stays alive just a little bit longer, especially if she's getting hit by, like an Expo or a Multi-Inferno or something like that. But again, dealing with a very, very simple base and against a very simple strategy. So it's very, very simple to sort of use this attack and really being able to use it to a point where you can 3-star very, very consistently. But with that being said, let's look at some more examples of this attack. So here we go. We've got another pure mass miner using the Seige Barrack. So the biggest thing with the Seige Barrack is that we are using it to create the opposite side of the funnel. The main reason to why it's very good with miners is because we're going to be using a Sui hero on one side, then we can use a baby dragon and the Seige Barrack on the other side. What we're doing now is, just like on this base design, we are carving these areas out here, which now allows us to send our miners into a direction like this. Easy pathing is going to be the main driving force. So if you're looking, you're looking for miner pathing that's like this. That's what you're looking for, and that's going to offer you value. Now, what you can also do is have some of your hogs go in on the side and be able to deal with them like that. Of course, some of those miners are moving into the base, and that could really spell some trouble. However, as long as you have a good group of miners within the base, you should be all set and ready to go. Making sure that you're popping your Grand Warden's ability over those miners, still some inside and outside the base. That way you're still going to be able to get some value from them and be able to keep them all alive. So as you're sending them right through the base, making sure that you can heal them up, heal up the hogs as well, and get them right up through. One of the biggest things and one of the more challenging things is dealing with back-end skellies. Of course, they're going to slow them down, but sometimes they could really make or break the attack. So definitely that's something to keep in mind. What you'll notice here, very, very simple nonetheless. The miners are able to easily get through the rest of the base, and they're able to dominate very, very quickly. But with that being said, that is going to give you guys another very solid explanation to using miners here at Town Hall 11. We've got a couple more examples here to hopefully teach you guys miners and the Seige Barrack. So we're going to be taking a look at our last example here, and you'll notice again we're using a queen charge, but you also may notice that the eagle is very, very close to the outside. So this is a base type that is going to be very, very heavily into using miners. You'll notice that this base is mostly a rectangle, and that's really what you're looking for. If you see a base where it's basically a rectangle, then that's a good base to hit with miners, because what you'll notice is that because there's a very limited amount of trash buildings on the side, that means that you're able to funnel that out with the Seige Barrack and then just send your miners in like this. Super easy. And what your queen charge is doing is just making that funnel even better, just narrowing it down like this. You'll notice here that we are dealing with a enemy CC that is an Electro Dragon. Very simple to deal with. That's why you're using queen charge. I think right now the two strongest Town Hall 11 miner attacks is going to be miner, or the pure mass miner, when dealing with a non-damage CC, and then when you're dealing with the damage CC, it's going to be using the queen charge miners. Very simple, and that is really the easiest way you guys can really wreck bases with miners. But as we can see here, dealing with it is going to be fairly simple. We're still going to be able to get a lot of good value for our miners. We can still use our rage spells on the queen in order to keep her alive. And as we go through and making sure that we keep our miners alive, we are using those heals and the Grand Warden's ability as early as possible to where those miners really need it the most. And invincibility is really going to help them, especially as they get through the rest of the base. I know my voice cracked there, don't worry about it. But as you're getting through the rest of the base, you want to make sure you are still getting all of those defenses down and making sure that those miners clear up the rest of the base. But very simple nonetheless. I hope that you guys sort of understand miners a little bit, seeing the base designs that work really well with them. And let me know if you guys want to see another video on this, maybe some with more examples or something like that. Just let me know. But with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss anything. Also, feel free to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and also feel free to follow/subscribe to me on Twitch. Also, feel free to go ahead and join my community Discord server and join any of the Discord servers for any of the clans I'm covering in the description below. But with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.